The diner had fallen into that hushed lull that comes after laughter. The kind of laughter that isn't kind, but sharp-edged and cruel. At the corner booth, a young woman kept her sleeve tugged down, though not fast enough to hide the ink creeping from her wrist. The group of men at the counter noticed. Their voices rose, mocking, throwing careless words that landed like stones. Bet she got that tattoo drunk. Looks like something a wannabe soldier would wear. She sat frozen, her coffee cooling, untouched, cheeks burning with a mix of shame and anger. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. She had carried the ink for years. To her, it wasn't decoration. It was remembrance, a tribute to a brother who never came home. To nights when silence rang louder than gunfire, to the weight of unfinished goodbyes. Yet in that moment, their jeers reduced it to nothing more than scribbles on her skin. She wanted to vanish, but instead she stayed, heart pounding, eyes fixed on the tabletop. The door creaked open, and with it came a gust of late evening air. A tall man stepped inside, shoulders squared, uniform jacket, neat but worn from years of service. He didn't look around at first. He simply walked to the counter and ordered black coffee. The men turned, snickering, and one of them tilted his chin toward the young woman. Hey, Colonel, what do you think of her cheap tattoo? The room seemed to tighten. The man's gaze followed the pointing finger, landing on her trembling hand and the faint mark peeking from beneath her sleeve. Silence fell heavier than any insult. She braced herself for another wave of mockery, but what happened next scattered every expectation. He set his coffee down. Slowly, deliberately, he unbuttoned his jacket and slid it from his shoulders. The room went still. Across his arms, chest, and ribs, ink told stories of its own. Intricate designs, battle emblems, names etched in solemn reverence. Scars threaded through the tattoos like roads on a map, each line carrying its own history. The men at the counter stopped, breathing for a moment, their smirks erased. He spoke, voice steady, deep, and unshakable. You call hers cheap. That mark she carries means she remembers. It means she honors, and that gentleman is worth more than all the empty laughter in this room. The young woman felt tears prick her eyes. For years, she had borne the tattoo in quiet solitude, enduring sideways glances and whispered judgments. To hear someone defend it, not just someone, but a Marine colonel, felt like a hand reaching through her silence and pulling her back into the light. The men shifted, uncomfortable, now under the weight of truth. One tried to mumble a defense, but his voice cracked and the words faltered. Around the diner, the other patrons had grown still, some nodding, some murmuring softly. The air carried a new current. Not mockery, but respect. And in that charged pause, she understood something. Her tattoo wasn't a stain to be hidden. It was a legacy. And when the colonel had revealed his own, he had shown her she wasn't alone in carrying the weight of memory inked on skin. The colonel lifted his jacket, folded it over his arm, and gave her a nod that said more than any speech could. It was solidarity. It was recognition. It was honor. She pressed her sleeve back deliberately, no longer hiding, letting the design show in full view of the room. The crowd responded with a quiet clap at first, then growing into applause that filled the diner's walls. Not because of the ink itself, but because of the courage it represented, hers and his. The truth stood bold between them. Respect is not in the skin, but in the story it carries. And as she sipped her coffee, again, steadier now, she realized something eternal. The laughter of mockers fades like smoke. But honor leaves marks that never fade. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits and it finds its way back. So, next time you see someone's scars, their ink, or their silence, remember it might be a story of courage waiting to be heard. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Your voice keeps this community alive.